Back at our carpet space, my notebook was still sitting in its exact angle. She wasn't the curious type, I figured. I was standing on a big rock on a big lake. You have to land in the water just a certain way to avoid the rocks. I jumped. "I like that sticker on your car," I said to her. I was sailing through the air. "How do you know my car?" she said. I hit the surface with the wallop of a big fat rock. I didn't know what to say. She looked at me with all the stun and bulging eyes to say that she knew I had been humbly and modestly following her, with enough of all that to tell me that I went too far. On the rocks, 30 feet down, with my eardrums bursting, I sliced my spine in half.
Tell me a story.
Well, it's a big beauty of a box truck. I like to tell people that I call her Sally, so it seems that I'm some kind of real trucker. I headed into the dock, a cheap golden beetle of a minivan parked all angularly, causing the most highly revered of ancient trucker wisdom to be put into use. Inching back as slow as ever to the bumper pads, then letting go of the final 4 feet, effecting the smash, the familiar thunderous shudderings of an International's frame. I heard it can only take that a small number of times, but I've got plenty. Got out and was standing on the 2 steel steps next to the ramp when I saw it coming down at me. Hospitals have this special cot for moving the bodies. It looks empty, a nice clean flat white sheet, but under the microscope you can see more substance than that, like a magician's saw-in-half box. But what was coming down at me that day was a regular old cot with some old body wrapped in what appeared to be an old red curtain with embroidered leaves on it. And this big black guy leading it down. He asked me how I was doing, and I said that I was okay. But still, I stayed on those steel steps, partially out of respect. Then I saw the other thing, once I myself was on the ramp. A trail of bright red blood drops, splattered and new, all the way from the hospital's interior, through the dock, down the ramp, and increasing in depth and width as they led back in. I thought they took care of shit like that. And no special coroner's vehicle, just some GMC Astro van. Is the bright red blood what they call good, or is it the bad yet to re-enter the heart?
What else is there?
Long trips, when you're a child, in the car at night, a freezing autumn outside, heat on and pretending to sleep in all that room in the back seat, or things yet to come, like that same trip but you're driving and it's a big luxury deal with no kid, but some real sweet broad in real fur, real expensive fur, and stockings and jewelry, and sleeping on your shoulder, and the same autumn night, and that same heat sucking in, and smelling her perfume as it comes in with it. Has your father ever dragged you into one of those cement bunker changing shower rooms down the shore where the sand and seawater mix and spread all over, and then there's these horrible naked men milling about, acting so comfortable and confident and smiling almost victoriously as they urinate into urinals with both fists on their hips? Now I ask you, what the hell is that? Have you ever been to those coffee house art bars where anything is stageable? One time I saw this gargantuan transvestite, identical to one of the New York dolls, huge frizzed wig and all, wearing one of those baby doll t-shirts, sweatpant gray with "Lonely" across the chest in block lettering, and a big white pin reading "Decent Man." Behind him was a man providing the beat with a 2-piece drum set and a gong, but the gong sounded more like a bell. Do you know what church bells sound like when you flash by them in your car? You do know they ring when you're born, and when you're baptized, and when you have your communion, and when you get confirmed, and when you get married, and when you die, right? Do you ever watch the evening news? How many teenagers lured via the internet will it take to make Sam Champion tear out his hair and tear down his blue screen and chew through the wiring of Doppler radar and scream like a woman And how many dead or still breathing babies must be found in dumpsters before the remains of famous journalists of yesteryear do barrel rolls in their caskets? And how many rifle-wielding, Satan-worshipping cults of unnoticed high school geeks plotting and executing extensive cafeteria pillages must there be before the pilot of Chopper 4 goes mercury-licking mad and cuts the engine and drops like a brick in the middle of the GWB and decapitates convertible motorists and leaves Chopper 7 with the monopoly of covering the accident?
What do you dream about, Mr. Phillips?
Well, there's this reoccurring dream I have where there's these two girls and they're sucking my balls simultaneously, and then they both come up to kiss me at the same time, and I can smell my balls. Well, I can smell myself on their faces.
Do you think these women represent anyone in particular?
Yeah, Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen. What do you dream about?
This session isn't about me, Mr. Phillips.
I know, it's about all of us, the herd. It's about wearing safari hats and tracking our yearly migrations. It's about plucking each and every one of us out of it by the tail. Looking into our eyes, reading our faces, watching the limbs flail around. It's about all our cookie-cutter syndromes.
Is there somewhere you're getting, Mr. Phillips?
No, Mr. Shithead. Because every once in a while, the little signs of our own humanity jam themselves into our eyes and our ears, and the only place anyone is on. And every so often, there's a little frightening sign of our own humanity, like that feeling you feel when you realize that smell you're smelling is your very own snot in your very own nose.